This show was the best full card predictions on the internet last week. And this week, I'm coming to you with the main and co-main event dog picks. Full card predictions going to start at the top with Alexander Volkanovski and Diego Lopes. I'm going Lopes. I think Alexander Volkanovski, being 38, being just on the other side of his prime, is going to have trouble with Diego Lopes. The way he pulls his chin up going out, I see Diego Lopes landing on him. The jiu-jitsu of Diego Lopes is nice. I do trust Volk's wrestling, but I think Diego Lopes can finish him. Then I'm going to go with Michael Chandler over Paddy Pimblett. I know people love Paddy the Baddy, but I think Michael Chandler is going to get him out of there. I do think Michael Chandler is a much better wrestler than Paddy Pimblett. I think that's going to be a problem. Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva. I'm going with Gene Silva. I know people want to see Bryce Mitchell win, even though he's saying wild shit on the internet. A lot of people are behind Bryce. But I think Gene Silva is going to be behind Bryce, throwing left hooks and getting the referee to pull him off. I got Gene Silva. Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. I'm going Patricio Pitbull. Major dog there. Just know that Patricio Pitbull is also my boy. So I've been able to see him up close. I've been able to watch his fights with AJ McKee. I've been able to see him with rangy strikers. And I got Patricio. I'm going Nikita Krylov. Nikita Krylov over Dominick Reyes. Dominick Reyes has better boxing, but that's it. So if he can land a big shot, props to Reyes. I've been picking him, by the way. People faded Reyes. Okay, he was dog money before. I've been picking him against, what was it, Dustin Jacoby in another fight? But I believe that Nikita Krylov's just too dangerous, man. I'm going to go with him. Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson. Sean Woodson, 7 feet tall. Dan Ige comes up to his chest. I think Sean Woodson can kickbox from range. Dan Ige is always game. Virna Jandiroba versus Xiaonan. I'm going to go with Xiaonan, but weigh-in's got me a little concerned. Virna Jandiroba looks bigger than her. Virna Jandiroba looks in nasty shape, and I could see takedowns coming. Why would you bet on a ladies fight on this card? Chase Hooper versus Jim Miller. I'm going with Chase Hooper. I'm going to run through these really quick because I'll break them down for you guys. Julian Erosa, Cedric Dumas, Sumudaerji, Marco Tulio, and Nora Cornell. Those are my predictions for UFC 314. I'll break them down more in depth for you. Let's start at the bottom. Nora Cornell blew weight. She cut all her hair off, and it didn't make any difference. You know why? Because hair doesn't weigh anything. People think they're going to cut their hair and they're going to weigh it. Like, I've been on the wrestling bus where dudes have a cup and they're spitting into the cup. That, as bizarre as it is, that is a bizarre practice for a freshman in high school, is far more effective than cutting your hair. What kind of hair you got? How thick are them locks? Because I think this shaving your legs, cutting your hair thing is crazy. Hair is so light. So, of course, she didn't make weight still, but now she'll have a different hairdo. I don't like betting on fighters who don't make weight, and she's fighting Haley Cohen. Haley Cohen coming back after a layoff. It's like, who is betting on this fight? Who's going out and betting the farm on this fight? And if you are, see help. Tresean Gore versus Marco Tulio. I think Marco Tulio might be able to knock him out with a high kick. I think he might be able to outbox him here at range. I like that they're in the big cage. I think he's going to be able to move around and beat up a Tresean Gore. Tresean Gore, nasty guillotine. Physically strong dude. A little bit game. But I got Tulio. Sumudaerji over Mitch Raposo. Although, it's interesting. Mitch Raposo, New England Cartel. That's a good team. Mitch Raposo. Pose it. I think this could be like a split decision. This could be a close fight. Slight lean to Sumudaerji. One I'm also avoiding. Cedric Dumas and Michael Oleksiejczuk. I like Cedric Dumas here. I think Michael Oleksiejczuk has fought great competition, and so people respect that. And he's got nice hands. And so people see some good highlights, and they like Michael Oleksiejczuk. The holes in the grappling and him getting manned up by a Cedric Dumas, who's a young guy, but at least is decently well-rounded. I think Cedric Dumas will hit key takedowns here. I do. I don't think Michael Oleksiejczuk's going to stop him. He would have to get a TKO the way I see this fight playing out. Cedric Dumas, not fantastic. Enough to beat Michael Oleksiejczuk, though? I think so. Darren Elkins versus Julian Erosa. I'm going to go with Julian Erosa. Looked fantastic at weigh-ins. Darren Elkins is starting to look old, man. He's walking worse than ever, dude. The damage, his face looks damaged, man. He's got miles. There are miles on that vehicle. Julian Erosa might get a finish here. Chase Hooper versus Jim Miller. I got Chase Hooper via armbar. I know that's specific. Let me tell you why. I think that Chase Hooper is going to keep fishing off of his back, even if he ends up in a bad spot. You can imagine Jim Miller having, a sense of urgency here, walking him down, taking him down, throwing big shots with him. And I could see Chase Hooper gunning for the finish, just like he did against Clay Guida, who, by the way, has a similar build, similar credentials, right? Storied gatekeeper of the lightweight division. I see Chase Hooper via armbar. I see it. I have the Palantir, and it's armbar. Virna, Jandiroba, and Xiaonan. I started to pick flip when I saw those weigh-ins, man. Xiaonan's not a big girl. Xiaonan's a better striker. And the way Virna Jandiroba shoots is terrible. She reaches in. I don't want to be a hater because she's a great grappler. When she gets a hold of women, the way she's able to drag them down to the mat, she'll put a single hook in, crossbody ride. She's able to drag girls down on the fence very well. Very well. She's world-class against the fence. But in the center mat, and the way she initiates to get to that fence, I can't see Xiaonan having an issue punching her in the face. I see her having an issue when she gets to that fence, though. So, tough one for me. We've been betting on ladies' fights a little bit. This card ain't it. Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson. I'm going Sean Woodson. I think he's able to out-kickbox Dan Ige. Dan Ige's got a nice name for himself. Okay, he's got a little bit of head movement. He could box. But I think he needs a takedown here, and if he's not getting it, Sean Woodson from range, how does that dude make weight? Nikita Krylov and Dominick Reyes. Dominick Reyes took time off, came back, has looked good. Nikita Krylov took time off, and this is his comeback. So Dom Reyes is kind of on a little roll here. He's got a little momentum. But Nikita Krylov is very good. Nikita Krylov can damage you from anywhere. If you got a single leg, he's elbowing you in the head, right? He's always going for a finish, always trying to rock people. Well-rounded. I see him being better in more areas than Dominick Reyes, and that's why I'm leaning towards him. I could see Dominick Reyes catching him, though. It's a good fight. That's a really fun fight at light heavyweight. Hopefully we get a nice highlight so one of these guys could jump up in the division. Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. Now we're cooking with oil. I got Patricio Pitbull. Yair Rodriguez has trouble with powerful grappling. Patricio Pitbull has powerful grappling. Very physically strong. Very good guillotines. I said Tresean Gore had a good guillotine earlier. Patricio Pitbull's guillotine. Arm in, by the way. Not my favorite. Okay? You come to my jiu-jitsu class at UFC Gym Huntington Beach. High elbow guillotines. Marcelo Garcia style. Okay? I'd rather go ninja choke before I would go for that arm and guillotine. But Patricio Pitbull's jacked. And so he just zips up that zipper. Jumps those legs up there. He's got to jump the gilly Dustin Poirier wishes he had. I think he's going to jump the gilly. Club and sub for Patricio Pitbull. Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva. Bryce Mitchell put himself in quite a situation here. Dana White said he's the dumbest. What is it? I don't want to get it wrong. Somebody in the chat tell me. The dumbest guy on earth? What was it? What crazy shit did Dana say? And then, it's not crazy. It's not crazy. He's not the dumbest person on earth, but he took he took the most controversial stance I've ever heard an athlete take. Okay? And that's a long shot. I can't think of a more controversial stance. Hey, man, I love the free speech part of it. I really do. You know? Love it. I think Dana keeping Bryce Mitchell around after Bryce Mitchell said he would fish with Hitler is a great thing. I'm glad he kept him around. I wouldn't fish with Adolf. That's not good, right? I don't agree with most of what Bryce says. But the fact that he can say it and not lose his job, hey man, I think, you could protest Bryce Mitchell. Maybe he deserves it. If you want to boo him, maybe he deserves that, right? Unfollow him on Instagram. Okay? But let him speak. It's very cool that the UFC will let even, the extreme fringes of free speech take place. That's great. Why the fuck am I talking about free speech? My bad. Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva. Gene Silva via knockout. I think Gene Silva's striking is just on fire right now. You could just see the way he moves his body. He is a knockout striker. And I think he's going to find Bryce Mitchell. I think Bryce Mitchell's a much better grappler. Can Bryce take him down? Maybe. Maybe this isn't a death sentence for Bryce. Maybe it's kind of a good fight. But Gene Silva's dangerous. And I think he's more dangerous than ever now. Everybody training at Fighting Nerds has been looking good. So I think he's knocking Bryce Mitchell out. Bryce Mitchell got knocked out by old man Emmett. And you guys can see how, if you got a bit of a jab and you can move, you can beat old man Emmett, make him walk into that elbow. You can beat old man Emmett. But Bryce's striking is just not great. He could even show Eddie Bravo like stuff from the Twister setup. Awesome. His jiu-jitsu is really nice. His wrestling's nice. It's fun to watch Bryce Mitchell. Tell me something about Jesus, Bryce Mitchell. Go ahead. He's awesome. Okay? Not everything he says I agree with. Much of what he says I don't agree with. But Bryce Mitchell's awesome. But bad at striking. Gene Silva knockout. Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. Oh, Paddy the baddie. Oh, Paddy the baddie. Michael Chandler said, I don't need a jingle. I'm going to show him that there's levels to this game. Paddy Pimblett's wrestling's not great. Paddy Pimblett's striking's evolving. He was firing some shots at Bobby Green. But I think Michael Chandler's high hands, explosive in and out, could be enough here. Michael Chandler's wrestling should be a lot better than Paddy's. Lot better. I mean, Paddy's jiu-jitsu, I should say, is nasty. Okay? Just because I pick against people, it's not that I don't see their incredible skill. Yair Rodriguez has amazing long-range kickboxing. It's just a matter of where's the fight taking place, right? And so with this fight, I think Michael Chandler boxes him. And if anything, he takes him down and he's working from the top. Paddy can triangle Bobby Green, but let's see what he could do against the Michael Chandler. Let's see. Paddy's another guy who he has an active guard off of his back, right? I like watching Paddy fight. I think there's a difference in power here, explosiveness, strike boxing specifically. Paddy Pimblett likes to throw his chin up in the air and bang. Like, look at the highlights of Paddy Pimblett they're showing. He's up here, and I can imagine Michael Chandler with a tucked chin coming in there and taking advantage of that. So 5-round fight. Both of these guys slow down a little bit, maybe especially Paddy. Paddy looks in great shape for this fight. But I like Michael Chandler. Dog money, Michael Chandler. You ready for the main event? Diego Lopes over an aging Alexander Volkanovski. Alexander Volkanovski was arguably the best featherweight in the world ever. I mean, very, very clean kickboxing. nice kicks, solid wrestling, capable wrestling, and his anti-jiu-jitsu is pretty nice. He's fought some good grapplers. They haven't really been able to do much besides a Brian Ortega attempt that's famous. The way he kicked out of that guillotine, found his way out, pushing the hips. Awesome. Training with Craig Jones, can't hurt. If Alexander Volkanovski grapples here, that's a good thing. If it goes to 3-4-5, that's a good thing for him. I think it is a fight, But I've got Diego Lopes. I think he's going to catch, and hurt a aging Alexander Volkanovski, who has shown this a similar thing to Paddy, where they're pulling their chin up. I don't like it. I'm going to go with the guys who are hunting when the exchanges are happening, not like, can we wait a second? I think Volk can end up in a bad spot here. Diego Lopes bangs. Volk's a better kicker than him. The jiu-jitsu is competitive, Lopes has nice jiu-jitsu. The wrestling should favor Volk, and the cardio should favor Volk. The power and just the danger, the scrappiness is going to favor Diego Lopes. And I think that's what's going to happen here. All right. Should we do it one more time for my people in the back? Do we want to? Even though that makes no sense. One more time for my people in the back. You're listening on your phone, presumably. Who's in the back? But one more time for my people in the back. I'm going with Diego Lopes. I'm going with Michael Chandler. I'm going to go with Gene Silva. I'm going to go with Patricio Pitbull in his UFC debut. I got Nikita Krylov, barely. Sean Woodson. Xiaonan, maybe. Chase Hooper. Julian Erosa. Cedric Dumas. Sumudaerji. Marco Tulio. And Nora Cornell, blue weight. I don't know. Do what you want to do there. All right. I'm going Nora Cornell. But when the fighter blows weight, not really looking to, have high confidence there. Generally, when somebody blows weight, I'm like, sweet, they're going to get finished. They're going to gas. Something's wrong. There's an injury. What's going on? Why are you missing weight? So Haley Cohen is live. What's up, chat? Hey, what's up, Tyson? My cousin's in the chat. Shout out to Tyson. Finch the GOAT. I appreciate that, Andrew. Thank you. We could dab. Got to be careful with that left hand, Whoa, careful. But this one, we good. PFL main events now. How dare I broadcast right over the PFL main event? Dominick Reyes looked like shit at weigh-ins. Nikita Krylov's dangerous, man. He could just elbow you in the side of the head and it'll be a wrap no matter where it is. Thank you for catching me live, Poppy. The Finch'S. Should I add that to the list? I'll add the Finch'S to the list. It sounds like a car. Got a Roadster and you got a Finch'S. Nicknames. All right. Putting it on there. Finch'S. And that's from King Nika. Thank you, King. And technically it was the Finch'S. Boom. Got it. Ping pong with Adolf would not hit. What's up, Cody? I bet Bryce beat Gene Silva up, make him regret his whole career. Bryce will win. You have no idea. This was the #1 predictions show on the internet last week, but it is possible that Bryce Mitchell can take him down. He needs takedowns. And every round starts on the feet. And Gene Silva on the feet is not a little bit better than Bryce. Okay? There's a wide difference. But Bryce is good at wrestling and jiu-jitsu. It's not impossible. It's kind of crazy to be that confident, though. Marco Tulio by pressure cooker. Brother, I think so. Why did this thing just reset? Bryce winning would be amazing storytelling. Highly likely he ends up on the canvas sleeping, though. Hunting for the knockout. The Brazilian middleweight has hands. Middleweight? What are we talking about here? Tulio again? Bryce going to put class Gene. Paddy getting knocked out first round. Brother. I hope so. No, I actually think this goes a little later. Michael Chandler hasn't finished anybody since Dan Hooker in the first round. And I don't see why Paddy would rush. And when you drop Paddy, he has good jiu-jitsu off of his back, So I think sort of something people overlook when thinking about over-unders is, how's the jiu-jitsu? And you're like, wait, why? Because when you drop somebody who's like a lot better at jiu-jitsu than you, and Paddy, I think in a no-gi jiu-jitsu tournament would be a favorite, large favorite against Michael Chandler. His submission ability is really good. He's a lot better off his back, etc. Michael Chandler's more of a wrestler who throws ground and pound. Michael Chandler might just let him up. He might drop him and just like back out of that guard. You heard Michael Chandler's jiu-jitsu coach, Gilbert Burns, talk about training with Paddy Pimblett and saying, hey, don't be messing around jiu-jitsu with him. You better ground and pound. You're on Chandler. Didn't expect that? Yeah. On Chandler for fucking a month and a half or 2 months now. I've had a bet on Chandler. Hit the likes. Yeah, hit the likes, y'all. 100 people, 99 people up in here. Hit the likes. Better see 99 likes. Thank you. Good picks. Thank you. I appreciate that. Finch'S. The Finch'S. What's up? What's up, everybody? Drake just put $550,000 on Volk. Is that cap? Is that cap? I knew Finch kind of looked like Mike Tyson. I don't see the resemblance. Mike the Pinch Finch. Never heard it. Nope, it's not on the list. Finch over Michael Jordan. Now you get it. Love you too, Hugo. Dan and Jan parlay is going to win, man. Dan Ige? I think you're tripping. Gene will TKO that delusional bum, no doubt. It's about grappling versus striking. I feel like he's throwing a shot through Bryce's face. What's good, Crans Nation? Glad you like the Chandler pick. Who do you think will win the scrambles between Virna and Julian? Virna Jandiroba isn't fighting Julian Robertson, so would win. Virna's better wrestler. Virna's better against the fence. Yeah, I like Jandiroba. The Pat Sabatini win aged so well for Lopes. For real. For real. What's up, KZ MMA? Thoughts on Silva missing weight initially and then fixing it an hour later? I actually only saw the second weigh-in then. I did not see that. So thank you for that, Tyson. So my thoughts on that are, damn, I better go watch that. I watched the ceremonials highlight, and then I watched the officials highlight, and then I watched the full live ceremonials. So cut that one out, I guess. I don't doubt Chandler could get it done. He's hurt Oliveira, Gaethje, and Poirier in their fights. People talk about this nonstop. They're like, but he's 1 for 4. Sorry. 1 and 4 in his last 5. Okay. Who's he fought? Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier? Okay. What if Paddy had fought Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier in the last 5? What would his record be? And what if Mike got to fight Bobby Green and company? Come on. See you at the top. See you at the top, Andrew. They called him Mike 12-inch Finch. Whoa, KZ. Whoa. Don't give me too little credit. Did a unit bet on Gene and Diego with a Bryce by decision hedge. Interesting. Shout out Jake Hadley. Hell yeah. Hey, a twister submission is one of the coolest. Okay. I like the truck. I go to the calf slicer, crotch ripper, right? There's a little checklist there on my way to the twister. Twisters are sick. Finch, would you fight Diego Lopes in a 3-rounder for 100,000 right now? For 100,000, yeah, I would. Yeah, I think Diego Lopes would be a heavy favorite, but yes, I would. I'm 185 pounds. I have one advantage. Diego Lopes is a bad motherfucker. I did say would win. Do you think Dana is banking on 314 being an otherworldly success that they got back to Miami twice a year? I mean, it should be good. These fights look sick. Who would not want to see these fights live? Chandler and Paddy, Bryce and Gene, even the Volk and Diego Lopes. They're sick. I like these fights a lot. All right. I'm getting the fuck out of here, guys. Good to see everybody. It's the pay-per-view tomorrow. You know you love when the pay-per-view comes around. Isn't that the sweetest time of the month? You guys get to sit and watch these world-class fighters go to war. I think we're in for some exciting fights. Fight of the year candidate could come out of this card just looking at that main card lineup. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Those are the full card predictions. If you want to see my 5 most confident picks, those are over on my channel already. That dropped on Monday. And if you want to see the premium channel where I dropped a plus 600, I think it was, wild card, where I dropped multiple underdogs, okay? Multiple locks of the night. Go check it out. That's over on the premium side. You guys could DM at mikefinchshow on Instagram, and you'll be able to get in there. Until next time, it's peace and love.